It was literally like somebody broke into our house and like killed our family. I mean, there's been people in this community who have said, it's been a year, get over it already. Those were just names you read in the newspaper. These were our friends.
Sorry. I didn't expect to get emotional. Okay. It started as like, a regular day. It was actually Delusional's first show. They had just gotten, the producer spot.
My name's Delusional. I'm 23 years old. I use any pronouns in drag. I started drag when I was 19 years old at Club Q. They had the open stage called Category Is. It was ran by Portia DeMarco Douglas, but the first person to help me get on stage and was hosting was Minerva. The night of the tragedy was the opening night for Delusions. An active shooter did come into the club about an hour after the drag show. When it happened, I was walking backstage to change my costume. We had this black curtain that kind of made a hallway to the dressing room door. Somehow that black curtain fully saved my life.
Unfortunately, I found out through Facebook that just that there had been a shooting. I called Hysteria Brooks, and she was already there at the scene, and she was talking to me, and she was like, "Girl, it's bad," but didn't give me really any details. And then she was like, "Finn, I gotta go talk to Homicide." And I said, "Homicide?" She said, "Yeah, Finn, Homicide."
We had my show stripped that night. Normally after my show, we would go and finish the night at Q. On the drive there, Hysteria called me and immediately was like, "Don't come here," and kind of told me what was going on there. And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then as I got closer to my apartment, I could hear all the police sirens and the police zooming by me. There was a lot of complaints that were made around the person that did this, and they just kind of didn't even bat an eye. Their family had even had complaints that they made against them as well. They just need to crack down on this. There needs to be screening processes. There needs to be mental health evaluations. It's easier to get a gun than it is to get your driver's license, and that's sad.
Ultimately, after the tragedy, there were tons and tons of fundraisers.
The GoFundMe that was created by the owners of Club Q was changed multiple times as time progressed. And where a lot of people thought that money was going to victims, where they thought it was going to families, did not go there. And then the final description said that a portion of it was going to go to victims and families, and then it turned into employees only because they were affected, and then it turned into the majority of it is going to this memorial that's going to be outside, and then possibly reopening the club.
But people couldn't pay their hospital bills. We couldn't have funerals that people wanted. People couldn't pay rent because they couldn't work anymore. People were suffering, and that matters more than a memorial. That matters more than opening up the club. And I can see how you would see those things and be like, yeah, those are great things. Yes, they are, but that should have been a second thought. People should have come first. We have a phrase, people before buildings.
After the tragedy, I was meeting with a lot of politicians, state senators. It was really disappointing to quickly find out that they weren't really on our side either. A lot of them would show up to these things to show face and leave, and we just never heard anything back from them ever again. The community for a little bit was really broken. It was. We didn't have somewhere to go. We were bar hopping, just trying to find a place to gather and have a safe space. And I think we went through 3 or 4 different venues. La Burleby gave me a place to be. They were like, "You can come here." And I'm very grateful for that because I wouldn't have had anywhere else. We found this lovely place called the Wagon Wheel. It is this cowboy sports bar. Mario and Finn specifically were the people that reached out.
My name is Finish Him All Night. My drag, I would describe, is very dance heavy. I started dancing when I was 3 years old, and I was a competitive dancer before I started drag. I am the entertainment director for all of the shows at the Wagon Wheel. Me and Mario brought drag there.
My name is Marijuana. Marijuana is an androgynous drag king. He likes to be flirty and fun. Being a biracial person, non-binary person, I get to represent a lot of underrepresented communities and continue to create awareness that we exist and we're not going anywhere. TJ and Petra here at Wagon Wheel have been amazing allies and have offered space for pretty much any producer that's interested in trying to create space.
We had our little sales pitch and we were doing our thing and we were like, you know, this is how much money you can make and like this is what shows bring in. TJ, the owner, stopped us and was like, yes, money is nice and we would like the bar to make money, but I know that you guys just lost Q and you don't have anywhere to go, and if we can be that, that's what we care about. And so we were like, yep, this is the venue.
My name is John Arcediano. I think the grieving process for me looked like helping other survivors through the worst part of their life, which ultimately led me to be in this space with Prism. Prism Community Collective is an LGBTQ plus resource center here in Colorado Springs that was stood up in the wake of the Club Q tragedy. Our goal is to dismantle barriers, increase visibility, and build connection to ensure that those impacted by the Club Q tragedy, including our broader LGBTQ plus community, can live celebrated and liberated lives. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, anybody is welcome to come in and they will get a free 30 or 45-minute session. We offer free HIV and STI testing once a month. We do have community resource specialists on site, and their main responsibilities are to really access people to affirming care here in the city of Colorado Springs, whether that's finding their own therapist, their own physical health care, helping them get on hormone therapy, helping them get name changes.
They're helping me get my top surgery by signing a mental health letter. They're really good at like getting people binders and the help they need when it comes to their hormones.
Colorado Springs LGBTQ plus scene is resilient, and there's a lot of amazing people in our community that have been doing fantastic work. Alex Valdez.
Mr. Valdez is the complete opposite of me. Mr. Valdez is just the personality that I can put on. That's that debonair, like he's got game. Like he can be on stage and he can do that whole thing, but then off stage, you get me again, and I'm just like, please don't talk to me. Each of the rooms are actually dedicated to each of the 5 that passed away. And one of them is Kelly's closet, and they have just a closet full of like gender affirming clothing.
We have Daniel's Den, which is our lavender library. Daniel was an avid poet and he loved to read. We have Ashley's area, which is a clinical space. Ashley worked a lot with kids in a clinical setting. Raymond was an avid gamer. So the gaming center is Raymond's room. And then our large conference space is Derek's domain. And Derek really believed in bringing our community together. If Prism was not in the picture, I think people would really still be struggling with the mental health crises.
My biggest piece of advice to people going through it: lean on your support systems, lean on your community.
Do things for yourself that make you feel good. Be around people that make you feel good.
It sounds cliche, but you like they say you can't pour from an empty cup. So I think taking care of yourself is going to be huge in that. You can still help people, but you do have to also take that time for you.
That shooter thought that he could break us. He wanted to take drag from us. He wanted to do those things. Even going to shows, just being a part of your community, just not giving up is such a powerful act. You can just exist, and just existing is an act of rebellion.
It's really important to be authentic to yourself. I know it can be scary, especially in the time that we're living in right now, but the more that people are themselves, the more it gives others the knowledge that it's okay to be who you are. It can be scary, but a lot of the violence and hate comes from ignorance. So the more that we are visible and the more that people know that their friends, their family, their coworkers are queer, the more they will realize that we're just like everybody else. We're just people who are trying to live our life and live in peace.